If you've been wanting to transform your body and you're wondering how your cortisol levels are playing into your weight loss or muscle gain, you're not going to want to miss this episode. Tune in to learn how cortisol plays a role in our health efforts as women over 40, how long you need to be consistent with your efforts before you should expect to see your body change, and real tips for lifestyle habits that are crucial for managing those cortisol levels. All right, let's dive in. What's up, sister? Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast, the show helping perimenopause and menopause women de-stress your body and decode what it's saying to you so you can own your own health, energy, and weight loss again. If you're new, I'm so happy you're here. I'm Bria. I'm your host, a recovering people pleaser and hustle addict turned functional and holistic hormone specialist. Let's lean in and learn what your body is saying to you. All right, sister, I am so pumped to bring this interview to you today. It is with the amazing Sara Frenza, who is a published fitness model and writer, nutrition and body transformation coach, and the owner of Sara Frenza Fitness and Nutrition. She has done so many wonderful things with a massive resume. And you know what I love the most? Besides the fact that she has the receipts, she has the proof in herself and in her clients, I love her energy, and I know you're going to love it too. After overcoming her own struggles with chronic dieting and post-pregnancy weight gain, Sara discovered a sustainable approach to lose over 50 pounds and transform her body composition. Now she helps women achieve their dream bodies through her one-on-one coaching program, focusing on the exclusive Restore, Lean Out, and Sustain Body Transformation Protocol. With a passion for empowering women, Sara has been published in top fitness magazines and graced the covers multiple times. She's the real deal, sister. Her journey from avoiding mirrors to becoming a fitness model in her 40s serves as an inspiration to women worldwide. You're going to love it. Let's get to it. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Period Whisperer podcast. I have such a great guest, as you heard me intro her already. Hi, Sara. I'm so excited to have you here on the Period Whisperer show.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And now that I know that you're a fellow Canadian, I'm even more honored to be on the show.
Yes. Yeah, we have a lot of Canadian listeners. So shout out to the Canadian sisters who are listening. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I've been pumped for this interview. You have a really amazing story of health transformation yourself. And now obviously you've got loads of them with the women that you help. But I'd love for you to kind of start with yours, just to share and tell us a bit about you and how you discovered this sustainable approach to, I know you lost over 50 pounds and transformed your body composition after that chronic dieting. So let's hear a bit about you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll kind of take you back to the beginning of like how my journey started. So I gained weight. I had my kids later on in life. So I gained a lot of weight during both of my pregnancies. I gained about 40 pounds with each of my girls. And then of course, after that, it was the chase of like, how do I lose this weight? Right? How do I lose this weight? So I tried a lot of different diets. I did cutting carbs. I did the restrictive approach. I did, replaced meals, complete meals for shakes. And then I always found myself, gaining and losing the same weight over and over again. And then I did try Weight Watchers, which it did help me lose, a substantial amount of weight. But the thing is that I remember losing the weight and finding me like, okay, yes, I got this number on the scale. But what ended up happening is that I went on a vacation. I went to Dominican with my family and I went on a vacation. And then I started noticing that I kind of look like myself, my bigger self, but a smaller version, meaning that my body composition was not what I was expecting, even though I had lost substantial amount of weight. And so I started thinking, okay, I'm carrying a lot of body fat. My legs are really tiny. My arms are really tiny. Like, this is not really what I wanted at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So even though I had lost, a little bit of weight and I wasn't liking the way that my body looked, that's when I reached out to a coach and I started working with a coach. And because even though I saw that number on the scale, what I was seeing in the mirror and what I saw in my photos afterwards, I was like, oh no, that's not kind of like, that's not really what I wanted out of this.
Yeah.
And
What kind of
so,
coach did you choose to work with? Was that a fitness coach?
yeah, so she was a body transformation coach. She's actually the vice president of Strong Fitness Magazine. Do you know Strong Fitness Magazine? It's a
Yes, I
Canadian magazine.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I worked with her, and because I had seen a transformation, one of my friends had worked with her and she had posted her transformation, and I was like, "Whoa, like you look incredible. Like that is what I want." Like she looked like a fitness model. And
Mm.
so I'm like, this is what I want. And then of course, what did you do? Like what? And she's like, oh, I worked with a fitness coach. I didn't even know fitness coaches existed back then. I just thought only personal trainers was the way to go. Like I had no idea. I'm like, what's a fitness coach? Like, what are you talking about? And so she explained it to me. And then of course I started following her, and then I hired her. And
Mhm.
so she was an online fitness, like she's also a nutritionist as well too, but her main thing was body transformation coach. And it was through her that I finally figured it out. Like she taught me how to properly fuel my body. She taught me all about protein. She taught me how to lift heavy weights. And then I started seeing my body transform, and it was so cool because prior to working with her, I tried all the things. I was like, okay, I'm going to do all of these YouTube videos, ab workout videos, and that's going to get rid of my problem. Yet nothing happened when I did all those ab workout videos. Or I'm going to do these workouts on this app, and I would notice like nothing was happening. And what I really learned from her is that it's a combination of the right type of strength training, in addition with nutrition, that was actually helping me make those body composition changes. So
Yeah.
I got into the best shape of my life in my early 40s. So I think it was like 41 when this happened. Okay. So I got into the best shape of my life, and she encouraged me to do a fitness photo shoot. And so I did a fitness photo shoot to celebrate my transformation. And it was at that point, that at that photo shoot, that I was like, every woman needs to feel like this. Like
Mm.
every woman needs to understand that we do not need to, do all of this stuff that we think we need to do. It's much more simpler than that. It's much more simpler than what I feel like most women think they need to do to get the body that they want. And so it was at that point, at that photo shoot, that I decided, you know what, I have to help more women. And with the help of my coach at that time, I asked her for guidance, like, what do I need for certifications? Like, what do I need to do? And then I pursued my career. So as I was working a full-time job, I was getting my certifications. And then I slowly built up my client base, and I left my career in marketing and sales to do what I love. And I've now been coaching ever since.
Amazing. And can I ask how old you are now?
I'm going to be 46 this year.
Amazing. And you feel amazing?
Oh, I feel phenomenal. I will not lie. This past year or so, I have really felt the effects of perimenopause more than anything, which for me, most of our clients are 40 and up and 50 and up. So it's
Yeah.
actually, beneficial for me to
Yeah.
personally witness and go through this myself, so that,
Yeah.
everything that I'm preaching to them, I can really understand that, when we take these approaches, which we'll talk about, that how beneficial it can be to us as well. So yeah,
I love this. I think it's perfect, and a perfect segue into, like, so now you're in this age box with us, with all the sisters listening. You're seeing it in
yes.
your clients, you're feeling it in yourself. I still love that you can say I feel amazing, because I think that's such an important message we spread across. Like, I think we can feel amazing at any age. It's all there for you. And I know Sarah's going
Yeah.
to give us some real tips on how to make that happen. But
Yeah.
what are you seeing in your female clients who are 40s and 50s specifically, when it comes to these struggles to release weight, to feel great? Like, what are you seeing out there?
Well, okay, I'll talk about what I'm seeing before they come to work with us.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. And what I'm seeing a lot of is that women are trying to do what they used to do in their 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
in their 40s when they're going through hormonal changes.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about metabolic health as well too. But I'm seeing them, eat 1,200 calories or less
Ah,
for years,
yeah.
constantly doing that. I'm seeing them engaging in a lot of these high intensity workouts, hit workouts, cardio workouts.
Yeah.
And then, they're just throwing in 10 or 15 minutes of strength training in there and thinking that that's what they need to be doing. So I see still, and I think it's not their fault though, Bria, to be honest with you, because of the way that how old are you? Sorry, how old are you?
No, I'm 42, almost 43.
Okay, so we grew up in the same era, 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
What was the message to us back then? It was aerobics classes. Like, do you remember the 20-minute workout? I remember doing that when I was like, well, you're Canadians. I don't know if is that a Canadian show? I don't know.
Probably.
But I remember doing that. I remember the 20-minute workout. I was 12 or 13 years old. I would do that like as soon as I came home from school or on the weekend. This was what we were ingrained in what we were marketed to. So I don't blame a lot, until you actually work with a coach or you do a lot of research on your own to really find out, why is this not working? You're really not going to know any different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I think a lot of the messaging we got was like, oh, don't lift heavy weights. You're going to get bulky. Right.
Yes.
That was like, which is just not even possible unless you're taking things to make you bulky. So
yeah. And that's what I say all the time. Women come to us, they come into our program, they start working with us. We get them to strength train. And, we're like, okay, we're doing no cardio. We're just going to focus on walking and we're going to do some strategic strength training. And they're like, what? Why are we doing that? And I'm like, because that's what your body needs.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to start seeing changes in your physique. But, we don't, you're not going to get bulky. I said, it's not going to happen. You don't have enough testosterone in your body. And when you see women that look like that, it's not natural.
Yeah, it's
not natural that they look like that. So the thing is that, when they're doing this, it doesn't take into account a few things. Number one, the hormonal changes that we go through during this time of our lives, right? And due to the decrease of progesterone and estrogen, both of these hormones help us deal with cortisol, and we lose our ability to deal with that. So we're far more sensitive to stress. So eating 1,200 calories a day and, working out 5 or 6 days a week, doing boot camp, HIIT style classes, high intensity classes, like, no, it's just increasing your cortisol levels even more. And it's making the body, you're more resistant to fat loss.
Yes, because when our cortisol is up, our insulin is up. So then we are storing. And when that's up, we can't manufacture more hormones. So now we're just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, aren't we?
We are. And so I see a lot of that. And then the other thing that, they don't understand by taking this method, this approach is the effect to their metabolic health. The fact that they keep repeating the dieting, they're losing weight, which means they're losing body fat and muscle. And then their metabolic health becomes affected by that. So they're losing muscle mass, which is slowing down the resting metabolic rate, which makes it harder for them to keep the weight off. And then we see this cycle constantly of losing and gaining over and over and over again. And they just don't know how to get out of it because they keep going back to the same modality.
It's so fascinating that you say that, bringing it back to that example you gave of like, you went off to Dominican. It's like when you focus just on fat loss instead of muscle, and then you go on vacation and maybe you change you're not in that constant like chronic burn that you're trying to create. That's when we gain that weight back, isn't it? But I think I find this, and I'm sure you feel the same, like the more muscle you build, like you can go off plan for a few days and nothing changes.
Exactly, right? Because you have a strong metabolic health, muscle is metabolically active and it keeps our metabolism robust. It keeps our metabolic rate running at a high capacity. And so, if you are going away and on vacation and gaining 5 or 10 pounds when you come back, that I say is a red flag. A red flag that metabolically something's not right. and that, your approach to what you're doing is not working for you.
Yes, I love that. And you know what else, Sarah? I love how you talk about the scale. You touched on it super briefly on weight, but you talk about how looking at it is like looking at the wrong data. Can you talk about this? Because I think it is so important. If we could megaphone this to every woman who's listening, it would just be the best thing ever.
Yeah, I think, a lot of women still come to us and that's what they're solely looking at. Even when we start working with them, they're like, okay, the scale hasn't moved, the scale hasn't
Um,
moved. But the thing is, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are thinking that, like, how could she say that the scale is the wrong data? And I want to explain a few things. I think I touched in on it a little bit,
yeah.
but I say there's a difference between fat loss and weight loss. Okay. Weight loss is you lose body fat and muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Fat loss, you lose body fat. So
Yeah.
the goal should always be to lose body fat and not muscle. Okay. And the super goal should be to lose body fat and gain lean muscle.
Yeah.
And this is how we actually help our clients build an hourglass body by improving their overall body composition.
Yeah.
But the reason this is so important is because if you only look at the scale, like look at what happened to me when I lost that weight. I was actually carrying a higher body fat percentage. I had a lot of body fat within my midsection still. And it's because of the fact that I had lost so much muscle when I did that initial weight loss attempt with Weight Watchers. And that's not really a place that you want to be in. It means that you actually didn't improve your overall body composition. And so what we really need to do is the focus needs to be on healthy body fat percentage and building lean muscle. And so the way that we need to look at the data is very different because maybe back then in the era that we grew up when we were doing the 20-minute workout, and if you remember back then, I used to idolize, it was all about being skinny. Yeah. Right. And I remember looking at the covers of magazines and I'd be like, wow, she looks so skinny. That's how I want to be. I go back and look at those covers of the magazines and I'm like, they don't look healthy to me.
Yeah.
They don't look healthy to me because they had no muscle on their body. They didn't look fit or anything like that. And so we have to change the way that we approach our data. So I always tell our clients, like the way that we need to be looking at the data is number one, are your clothes fitting you a lot better? Are you actually losing inches? Because if you're losing inches within your midsection area, this is where most women in their midlife carries a lot of body fat. That actually means we're losing body fat. And we want to look at photos, inches, and how you're feeling and how your clothes are fitting you. The last thing.
Yes.
How you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, those biofeedback markers, which I'll get into as well too, is like those are so important. But I'll give you an example. I had with one of our clients, she actually went and got a DEXA scan done. So this is a scan where it'll tell you how much body fat percentage and muscle you have. So she did one 6 months apart. And on the scale, she only saw a 4-pound difference on the scale. And this just kind of proves, we had the actual data to prove it to this client because she did that DEXA scan. She lost 10 pounds of body fat and gained 6 pounds of lean muscle during that time frame. So she only saw a 4-pound difference on the scale. But she lost a big amount of inches. Her clothes were fitting her a lot better. And so this is why I'm saying the scale is really the last data that we look at. And I would say, the most important thing, take photos.
Yeah, definitely. And check in with yourself. How do you feel stronger? Do you feel proud of yourself? I just think the scale rarely measures progress the way, it's like looking only at letter grades on a report card. We're missing the whole comments or something in there.
Yeah. And then women get really fixated on that point and they're missing out everything else that's becoming so beautiful about their journey. Like they're sleeping better, they have more energy, their mood has improved, they're getting stronger in their workouts. Like they're missing out on all of these other beautiful things that are happening within the journey because they're so fixated on that one number.
Yeah.
And, some women will look at that number and it ruins their entire day if they don't
Yeah.
see that scale go down, right? That number on the scale go down. And it's like trying to educate women. There are a lot of other beautiful things that are happening within your journey that you're completely missing out on.
Oh, I think that commented on having red flags, and I feel like I totally love that term, and I agree with you. I'm like, if you are getting on the scale and that's dictating your mood, the scale
Mm.
is just a big fat red flag for you. It needs to not be in your life. 'Cause
At all.
yeah,
Yeah, like
at all.
take it away. Take it away and focus more on how you're feeling. Focus more on how your clothes are fitting you. Take those photos so that you can actually see. And I love this part with working with clients is they think nothing is happening. And then you show them like
Yeah.
that before and after picture, and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, now I see it. Now I can see the changes. And it's like, yes, this is what I'm trying to tell you the whole time. We can't focus on that number on the scale because you're changing your body composition.
Yeah. I love this, Sarah. And I think I want to talk at some point. I want to get to like a bet because I know people are always like, well, how long? How long? Like, I want to get into some, just some guidance from an expert on these things. But you talk a lot. I talk a lot about cortisol and obviously that hormonal impact on our other hormones, but you talk about it. And so I'd love to hear your perspective on really what role cortisol plays in our health efforts over 40.
The role that cortisol plays in over 40. Yeah, like I would say that, cortisol. So again, progesterone and estrogen levels are dropping during this time frame.
Yeah.
And so our abilities to deal with stress, we lose that ability because of that. These two are hormones that help us deal with that.
Yeah.
And so we really have to, during this time frame, naturally do what progesterone and estrogen used to do for us. We have to manage those cortisol levels as much as possible because one thing that I'll say is that managing stress is going to be really, really huge because when cortisol levels are high, our body's ability to lose body fat and our body's ability to build lean muscle, it becomes deprioritized.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
It
When
becomes
cortisol is up, muscle cannot actually, fat burning can't happen, digestion can't happen, hormone production can't happen. So it's like you need to learn to bring that cortisol down, don't you?
Yes. And so I would say, like, what we encourage our clients to do is that say no to things, reduce the number of obligations and responsibilities that you have. I feel like women over 40, we're juggling careers, family, personal interests, leading to burnout. We say yes to everything. In my own journey, when I started to say no to things, is when I actually had more time to commit to my health and my self-care, and I felt less anxiety in my life as well too. And it's not an easy thing to do, especially it depends on the personality. I feel like some women might be, their personality is to please, but I think overall women, our personality is to take care of others, right? We want to take care of our kids. We want to take care of everything. So we're constantly saying yes and putting a lot of things on our plate where we should actually be taking more of a restorative approach during this time of our lives. We need to be reducing doing stress reducing activities like journaling, meditating, stretching, reading, whatever makes you happy, massages, manicure, like whatever makes you happy and can reduce that overall stress. I think that's important. But there's two other stresses that come with that. There's the stress from overtraining that we need to reduce that stress as well too. Like the more cardio we're doing, the more high intensity workouts that we're doing, that's stressful to the body and increasing cortisol levels. Instead, we want to go for more, shorter workout sessions that are focused more on building muscle through strength training, as opposed to driving our cortisol levels with high intensity workouts. And the other way that we're building up a lot of stress in our bodies is by dieting all the time.
Under eating.
I had a client come to us. She was eating 1,200 calories for years, doing classes 5 times a week, strength training on top of that. And she, not sleeping well. Biofeedback markers are all not there, not sleeping well, not getting stronger in her workouts. not feeling good. Like she wasn't feeling good. And so we had to spend time. Like one thing I'll say is your body's not always ready for fat loss.
Yes. Yes. Say it again for people in the back.
Body is not always ready for fat loss. And if you
Ah.
are under eating at 1,200 calories or less for years, we are not meant to be eating that amount of food.
Yeah.
And so that becomes very stressful to our bodies as well too. So the way we need to reduce that stress is exactly what we do with a lot of our clients that come to us because they're in this situation is we actually increase their food intake. We make them eat more food. We gradually bring up their food to maintenance and they think we're crazy. You know, is this actually going to work? Is this like, it's like, where do you go from 1,200 calories though?
I
Do you
agree.
go,
I don't know
like,
how
if you
many
go to
people I
800 calories, your body's actually not going to respond to that either because you're so metabolically adapted.
Yeah.
And then they start seeing the beauty that happens that comes along with that. You know, they start sleeping better. They start having more energy.
A libido. Yeah.
Better libido, better digestion. You know, they start getting stronger in their workouts. Like they're not just, I had this one client for years lifting 5 to 10 pounds. And then we did this, you know, reverse diet strategy and we brought her up to maintenance calories. And she's like lifting 20, 30, like heavy weights. And I'm like, it's because you didn't have enough fuel on in your body to do that.
Yeah.
And we saw really incredible body composition changes come about from that. But that's, I think, we have to recognize it's not just stress from like work and family life. It's what are we doing every day to impose that stress? And nutritional stress is a huge one.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And just that imbalance of like what you're at, like what you're giving your body and what you're asking of your body. If that energy supply and demand is off, like it's a huge break. And that goes either way. If you're overfeeding and undermoving, and if you're underfeeding and overmoving, we're going to
Yes.
find ourselves stuck in that very unsafe fat storage place. And I love that you address that because it is very real when we kind of refeed and try to bring that body back to a safe place that it takes a little bit for the body to trust you again, doesn't it? For it to be like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to starve again.
Exactly, right? And we get that body in the place where it feels safe enough to let go of body fat, right? And so, and then also the beauty that I tell our clients about doing this is that you get to build muscle during this time frame. And so, you know, when we take this approach where we're like restoring your metabolic health, we're helping you kind of rebalance out your hormones, your body has the fuel that it needs to build lean muscle mass. When you go and do that fat loss phase later on, you know, it's going to be easier for your body to do that as opposed to dieting at 1,200 calories. You might be able to go into a fat loss phase at 1,600 calories. So you've got 400 calories more to work with and you're not miserable because you're not driving the calories down so low and feeling super restrictive when you do that.
Yeah. And you're getting results that you weren't getting at 1,200 calories, which I just
Exactly.
like, isn't that what we want? We want to just eat and live and love and breathe without, worrying and thinking about food in every area that we go through.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I love that. You have some amazing tips and you've already kind of given us some great like tips for lifestyle habits that are like really crucial for managing this stress. You've already given us some, but do you have any others that you want to share for us today or tell us how to
I think the two top ones that I would say, or one really top one, is prioritizing sleep. I'm sure like this is probably one of the most common symptoms that women go through during this time of our lives. And we really need to look at how we can promote a better night rest. I actually just ran a challenge, like a 14-day challenge, and the women coming into it was specifically for women over 40. This was one of the habits we focused on. And they're like, what? We're doing sleeping? I'm like, yes, it's a foundational habit. If you want to lose body fat and if you want to build an hourglass body and you're only sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, that is not a great way to reduce cortisol levels or give your body the time to recover. So what I always say is like, what are you doing? What does your sleep hygiene look like? And so in this challenge, what we actually did is the first week we set an alarm before they went to bed. So the first week, the habit was an alarm 1 hour before you go to bed, and no TV or electronics 1 hour before you go to bed.
Love it.
And we focused on that for the first week. And so many, just by implementing that, we're getting more sleep. Can you believe that? Right? It's because we're preparing the body to sleep. We're helping lower those cortisol levels that can be elevated throughout the day. Um, and so we focused on that. And then we replaced that 1 hour. Like, what can you be doing during that 1 hour that can promote a better night rest? Hot bath with Epsom salts. Can you do a sauna if you have access to that at home? Maybe some reading, some journaling, some meditating, something that is calming you down to prepare your body for a good night rest.
Yeah.
So that is what we did the first week. And then the second week, what we did is we scheduled 8 hours of sleep. And so I said, you're not all going to sleep for that 8 hours, especially if you're coming from 5 or 6 hours. But the point is that we want to be scheduling you in the bed for at least 8 hours.
Create the space for it to happen, right?
Exactly.
I agree.
And again, so many just with these small little tweaks that are, going through perimenopause and menopause and having hormonal changes, just by even making these small little tweaks to their daily habits, their nighttime routine, they were getting better rest, they were getting better quality rest. And so I would say prioritizing sleep is a really great way to help manage those cortisol levels.
Yeah.
And the second thing I would say is walking.
I love this. I say these things all the time.
Yes, so you've got somebody else saying the same
talking about
thing.
hormones, or you're talking about putting on muscle, or you're like, either way, we're talking about feeling healthy, and you hear the same things because these are the real things.
Exactly, right? And so that's another thing that we focused on in the challenge as well too, was like, how can we get more walking? So even though you're working out 4 or 5 days a week, but your job is sedentary, like if you're sitting all day long, guess what? You're probably only getting 4,000 steps in a day, which makes you completely sedentary. And now you're missing out on that whole non-exercise activity thermogenesis just from you moving your body. We are not meant to sit down all day long. But walking is one of the best ways to lower cortisol levels. And it also helps us sensitize the body insulin as well too.
Yeah.
So, the other thing that we focused on, that you can focus on naturally by lowering cortisol levels, is get more walking in, preferably outdoor walking if you can. But for women that are busy professionals, I encourage a walking pad. Like I have you're in my gym, you can see my gym behind me here, but I have around the corner, I have a treadmill with a standing desk on top of it. And so some of my calls that I do, I actually do them while I'm walking at the same time, just so that I'm the same way. If not, I'd be sitting down all day long.
Same.
So we have to schedule it in. So I do recommend that for a lot of women that are really busy with their life. Get a walking pad, get a standing desk, check your emails in the morning for 15, 20 minutes. You'll get some steps in. Maybe after lunch, you can get some more steps in. Maybe in the afternoon or after dinner, you go out for another walk as well too. Like it doesn't have to be all done at one time. Break it up. But also what's great about that is you're lowering your cortisol levels during the day when you're working and managing it that way during the day.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like, and the reality is, Sarah, you and I both know, like 2 30-minute walks in a day will get you close to that 10,000 steps pretty quickly. So if you don't have a dog that needs to be walked, like even just like 20 minutes after each meal, like you say, it's going to work on the cortisol. It's going to give you all the cardio that you really need. It's going to make sure your blood sugar is consistent. And it goes such a long way. I love that. These are great, amazing tips.
Those are my 2 top lifestyle habits.
I love them. For the rest, you're going to have to go and check out some things Sarah's going to offer here in a minute. But I have to ask, because I think that if I was a woman listening, I'd want to know, we talked a lot about like staying off the scale. We talked a lot about kind of like that refeeding phase, because we are still so dependent on results. For women who are feeling really, really stuck, like how long do you think in your opinion, as an expert, let's tell the world how long they should need to be consistent with their efforts, especially in this phase of life, before they expect to see results.
I mean, consistent with the efforts, like at least 3 months of consistently like doing the things, at least 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And the way that you can be consistent. So I'll give you a couple tips on how you can be consistent because even on I go back to my own journey. I was so fixated on like, I got to lose that 50 pounds. I got to lose that 50 pounds. I got to lose that 50 pounds. And then when I started working with my coach, I started getting obsessed about the habits, the daily habits. And when I started focusing on that, and that's now what I get our clients to focus on as well too. When I focus on the daily habit, when I started getting obsessed about that, my results came. Okay. And so where the inconsistency happens is that we are so focused on the end results that we forget about the daily work that needs to happen in order to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And so how do we become consistent? Planning ahead is one, like if you want to create any new habit in your life, you need to plan it out and put it in your schedule. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to work out 3 days this week. Well, when are you working out?
Yeah.
Which workout are you doing it? And what day are you doing that workout? It needs to be in your schedule. And same when it comes to nutritionally. Well, I'm going to just eat better. Okay. That is super vague. That is super vague. What's your plan, right? So planning ahead of time, like meal planning, meal prepping, doing these things, like that was a big, huge component of my own journey. But also what we teach our clients as well too. And when they nail this, I call it my plan it, set it, go get it. Meaning you plan out your day, you set up your next day for success, and then it's just easy for you to go get it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So that's my whole thing. That is what's going to help you stay consistent.
Yeah.
And in terms of like when you're going to start seeing results, well, there will be results that is going to happen along the way, and the results that I talk about are these non-scale victory results. The fact that, you're going to see changes in your energy levels, better sleep quality, enhanced mood, maybe better libido, like we talked about, that you will see immediately in the first, like I said, that challenge that I did with just in 2 weeks, just by focusing on these simple habits. And they're like, well, I'd like to see how I'm going to get all of these benefits that you're talking about just by doing these things. And then, I asked everybody yesterday, because we finished this challenge, tell me about all your wins that you had. I'm sleeping better. I'm like more active. I feel better. I feel more energy just by focusing on these habits. Right. So you'll definitely see some of those non-scale victories come in there. But then we also have to take into consideration that every person is different.
Yeah.
And if you have metabolic issues, if there's hormonal stuff going on, maybe you have some gut issues, the root cause of what's really holding you back, that always needs to be addressed first.
Yes. Yeah.
And that may take time for certain people, like we've had clients coming to us eating 800 calories. Well, you know what? For us to slowly build up their metabolic health, that took maybe 4 or 5 months in order for us to do that.
Yeah.
But each person is different. But that person, she still saw a lot of results during that time frame, like sleeping better, getting stronger, improved body composition. We saw all of that happening.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a, honestly, you shared that so well. I think, and that I can't thank you enough, I think, for saying that. I think that was just really, really important. Like, especially by the time we reach our 40s and 50s, you're right. Like how long we've been eating 8 to 1,200 calories a day, that like, we're not babies. So the damage that we have done over and over and over has now really drawn down in that vital reserve of the body. And that's the impact you're talking on our metabolic issues. And so,
and then on top of that, now you've got hormonal stuff going on as well too.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes it harder.
Yeah.
And so, for the listeners,
a little different.
You have to be compassionate with yourself. Like even with myself, I'll talk about my own journey as well too. So like I started noticing like what I can't train 5 days a week anymore. I actually need, so that I can't train 5 days a week anymore. I've cut it back to 3 to 4 days a week because of what's going on hormonally with me. The disrupted sleep, like the energy level started dropping. I also started noticing my exercise performance changing as well too. So, because I'm doing this and this is my job, I recognize that right away. And it's like, okay, I need to focus more on rest and recovery. I'm also, I took 3 weeks off of training.
Yeah.
I took 3 weeks off of training completely just to get my body to sleep more. And I focused on 9-10 hours of sleep a night. And now I'm not going to go back to 5 a.m. workouts anymore. Yeah. I'm going to fit it in another time during the day when I have a little bit more fuel and giving my body that extra time to rest and recover. And so, we have to look at what's going on with us. How are we feeling? Really assessing those biofeedback markers. Yeah. Because when those biofeedback markers are off, like that is what's telling us what's going on with our body and how our body is responding.
Yeah, those are the messages from our body that we're supposed to listen to, but we do a good job of ignoring, don't we?
We do. I don't know why. I always hear oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Well, you're not supposed to feel tired like that all the time.
Yeah. Something's up.
Something's up. You're not supposed to feel like that all the time, And so if our bodies are constantly communicating with us, and so evaluating those biofeedback markers can be a huge, huge value to you, because it can tell you what needs to be adjusted. It's exactly what happened to myself. Okay, sleep is not great. My energy level is not great. I actually had low libido as well too. My exercise performance has gone down. Okay, This is my body telling me it's stressed.
Yeah. It doesn't have enough. It needs more. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So then I needed to take a different approach.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, this has been amazing, Sara. I know you have so many amazing things to offer us. You've got a great, we'll call it a freebie. You have a great thing. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I wanted people to know how to learn more from you, because you brought some great energy today and some amazing tips. So tell us about that and how to find you.
Yes. So I am, I'm focused on helping our clients build that hourglass body, the rounded shoulders, the V-taper back, the smaller waistline, the lifted glutes, because that to me means strong metabolic health and strong hormonal health when we can create that beautiful hourglass shape. So I have my hourglass body blueprint. If you go to my website, which is sarafrenzafitness.com, it's free. You can just click on it. It says hourglass body blueprint. I actually have over 12 free resources in there. When you get it, when you click on it, it'll be automatically emailed to you. So you can get that for free. It has lots of guides. There's also one on my fat loss cheat sheet for women over 40, a meal plan and guide and everything like that. Lots of stuff. And also a really great 6-week training program that you could do at home or at the gym.
Oh my gosh. Free.
All free. Yes. All free. It's all free. Lots of freebies in there. So you can go to my website, and then I'm also very active on Instagram at Sara_Frenza.
Amazing. I'm going to put all of this in the show notes, but thank you, Sara. You have just over-delivered today. You've given us so many amazing things, and I think just reminded us as women what's most important.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This was fun. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. And sisters, go out, be more in your life and not just less on a scale. You've heard it from Sara. You hear it from me every day. Go grab her freebie, check her out on Instagram, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on the Period Whisperer podcast. If you liked this episode, take 30 seconds right now to write a review on iTunes, and then reach out to me directly on Instagram at Bria_period_whisperer and message me there with a screenshot of your review. As a thank you, I will give you a customized free hormone audit to get you on your way to the best health of your life in midlife.